What you're watching here is some clips of a man splitting wood. Well, it's me actually, and this is just a very, very, very tiny portion of the countless hours I've spent working on this art form. Yes, I said art form on purpose. I'm sure you think that there's not a whole lot to be said about it, and you're kind of right, but that's in part why I like it so much. Besides, there is a little more to it than meets the eye. My family has always heated the house during those cold winter months using a wood stove. For those of you who haven't been living under a rock your whole lives, it's a fireplace. The thing at the bottom of the inside of chimneys. Now, I don't know if we don't have a heater hooked up, or if my dad is just too cheap to run it, but it has always been, go outside to the shed a quarter mile away with the wheelbarrow in the snow in your PJs and grab some wood, and never just turn up the thermostat. Yes, that was an excellent impression of my father. We used to spend a considerable portion of our escape from school in the summertime helping my father split wood so that we could heat the house for free. Although I would argue that if we had spent that time actually working real jobs, we could have just bought wood to burn and not had to break our backs, but I digress. We had a wood splitter, which you basically put the cut log on, and using hydraulics from the skid loader, it would slowly push it into pieces of burnable firewood. Now, if you'd asked me back then if it was better to throw an axe or splitting maul as opposed to pulling a lever while my dad simply pushed some logs into place, I wouldn't have even said a word to you. Just made a sour face and shaken my head. If you get the same result with less effort, it's better, right? Right? Wrong. Wrong. Well, sort of. I'm not trying to say that firewood cut by hand burns better or anything, but when I split wood by hand, a few more things happen that normally wouldn't with a hydraulic splitter. One element of the state of mind I've found I tend to have when manually chopping is focus. When you're doing something with such a clear set of goals, it's easy to get lost in it, to simply become the axe. It's a great feeling to know that this log will keep my family warm for a day if I can split it. Why is the focus better when working by hand, you ask? Because it's much more difficult to raise a heavy maul over your head and then pull it down as quickly as possible in the correct direction with enough force to alert the thunder gods than it is to pull a lever and roll a log. There's just technique. There's a learning curve, and focus feels so good when directed at something so difficult and yet so achievable. It's the reason people love video games, where you have to grind. People love an honest payoff. The goal is on the horizon, you can see it, and every step you take, you get closer. This brings me to the second reason I prefer hacking on some wood instead of letting the machines do all the work. Grinding video games, great for focus, yes. But sitting on the couch all day makes me antsy and less focused, actually. It's just not as healthy as lifting heavy things. Have you ever seen those posters in the school gym that says explosive power in like big shiny letters? Well, this is probably the only peaceful thing in your life you will do that requires explosive power. The difference between this and the gym is that here you have to explode over and over and over again. You have to. The best part is it's a true full body workout that isn't even bad for any of your joints if you use the correct form. Why do you think lumberjacks are depicted as absolute giants? Well, that's not to say that not just anyone can split wood, because you can. You just gotta start small. Plus, once you've finished, that beautiful feeling of achievement sticks around not only because you've done something good for the family, but because you've exhausted yourself so thoroughly, you've earned the right to have a nice shower and relax the rest of the day. Which takes me to my third and final reason I prefer to take nature on mano y mano. The meditative experience of body and mind coming together. There are so few places in the world today where you can afford to take the less productive path. I mean, on the internet alone, just think of the sheer volume of information and content being pumped out every minute of every day. From some guy in his basement producing enough stuff to keep you busy for at least 10 minutes. And there were a lot of guys in their basement. At the time of writing this, 2.5 quintillion bytes of information are being added to the internet each day. That is an unfathomable number. I mean, once you get past like 60, for me, all numbers are basically the same. But the point is that this is an amazing chance to slow down and become a solitary human once again, to just disconnect. You start thinking of things you would never imagine could matter to anyone. Is this log wet? Is it too tall? Does it have knots? Where's the best place to split it? Oh, that's a nice crack. I swear to you that you will never see wood the same way again. And I'm sure this isn't exclusive to splitting wood, but you really begin to see what's important to you and what is just some nonsense. You're putting in an effort that will likely go underappreciated by everyone but you, but especially in the moment, that's of no importance. You're trying to figure out how to hold your axe straight while chopping a diagonally cut piece of birch wood. It's difficult. You have to pay attention. There are overall challenge hierarchies that you're always moving in on, while completing smaller and smaller challenges you never thought existed. To call it fun is almost disrespectful, and at least a misunderstanding. It's like calling an ice bath fun. Yes, it's interesting, and it feels good afterwards, and it's good for you, but it's not quite fun. It is fun, though, to show off your skills when you go to the state fair or whatever, and they have that game with the big mallet where you slam it on the spring and it launches a little counter into the bell. You know what I'm talking about? I really implore you to at least try it out. If you don't have your own, or if you know someone with a fireplace, ask them how they get their wood. See how they feel about it. I promise they won't say it's fun. But seriously, I felt so many fears, anger, stresses, sadnesses, and concerns drop away when doing something like this, and I hope you can too. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Peace.